Hello everybody, how are you doing? It is fairly early Saturday morning. I started my day at 3 a.m. I woke up because I had to go to work and take care of something. I will have to go back later today. I don't know what time that will be. I'm waiting for a phone call, but sometime maybe around the noon hour, hopefully, to finish the job. Uh, I came home. My wife and daughter are in Indianapolis this weekend at a lacrosse game. I didn't get to go there. A couple of games up there that my daughter's playing in. But I came back home, and instead of going back to bed, because I knew I would feel terrible if I laid down and went back to bed, I stayed up and waited for my boys. They didn't have very long before they got up because the two of them are off taking the SAT. So made sure they got up, made sure they ate, got them out the door, and they are doing that today. So I am by myself, and I have a big plan today. At the end of the season last year, I didn't get to do this. Normally at the end of the grass cutting season, you take your lawnmower apart, you clean it, you change the oil, you do all the basic maintenance to it to get it prepped for the next season. Well, we ended up cutting so late into November last year that I didn't get around to doing that. And then it got cold and miserable. And it's chilly today. I've got my jacket on. It's probably in the 50s today, or low 50s. It's chilly. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to start by cleaning off the tabletop of my saw. I'll put some cardboard on there, and then we're going to go out to the shed, get our mower, get it up on top of here, and we're going to start diagnosing everything that's wrong with it. When I say diagnosing everything that's wrong with it, there's really not much wrong with the mower. It's got a Honda motor. I think it's a Toro maybe. I guarantee it'll fire up like that, but we're going to change the oil, clean out the air filter, probably put a new spark plug in it. We're going to sharpen the blade, make sure there's no gunk or crusty stuff up under the deck. But when I say what's wrong with it, my son cuts the grass for me, and he doesn't usually mention that things are odd with the mower. Well, at the end of the season last year, I got a hold of the mower to do a little bit of the mowing and noticed that when you pull the handle, the wheels, they engage, but they really don't have much pull to them. So it's just self-propelled, and I want to take a look at that and see if there's anything I can do. Maybe there's a gear that's busted in there. Maybe there's a grub screw that's come loose and one of the gears is moving, or a belt that's slipping. I don't know. We're going to take a look at that. That's secondary because you can always push it. So we're going to get it running and sharpened and ready to go first. But the secondary thing we're going to do is start pulling apart the self-propelled aspect of the mower just to see if we can figure that out and get the mower back into shape for this 2021 mowing season, which quite honestly, if I get it running, I probably will start this afternoon because my grass is probably 6 inches tall in some areas. I don't know why it's so tall. But that's what's on tap for today. I just thought I'd let you guys know. I'll check in periodically, let you know how things are going with the mower, and hopefully it goes really smooth, really well. We get done early, and I can get to some shop stuff. Otherwise, I'll be back in the shop tomorrow taking care of some of the shop stuff I want to work on. I've got the mower up on my table saw. The last time it was used, I was in Louisville with my parents. It looks like it did not get cleaned before it got put away. I mean, I expected to have some of this type of dirt on it, but this type of stuff should have got washed off, the tires and stuff. It didn't get washed off before it got put away, and look at this. Whoever used it last didn't turn the gas shut off on it, which is not good. I mean, luckily nothing happened, but this does set in the shed, and that could have caused a problem. Take a quick peek around the other side. Nothing unusual. We'll check the oil here in a minute. Just make sure it's not low on oil, but we're going to actually drain that and put new fresh oil in it. We'll get this off in a little bit once we get the basic maintenance done, and we'll find out what's going on with these wheels. You can see how slick they are. These are pretty worn. I may have to replace the wheels, get some tread on them. That may help a little bit too. I don't know. We'll decide as we move forward. When I moved into this house in 2015, I bought that mower from a neighbor who was moving out for $50. All I did was the basic maintenance on it, and I've done basic maintenance every year. I did put a new blade on it, and it's had maybe one new spark plug. I think right away I put one in, but it's a Honda motor. You can hit the choke on that thing, give it a pull, and literally that thing will start first pull. It's a heck of a mower, and for $50 I got my money's worth, so I'm willing to sink a little bit of money into it to try to get everything back up to where it should be. So I'm going to shut the camera off, and we're going to get busy going through and deciding what I need to head to the parts store and get for this mower. First thing I'm going to do is get this handle off of it just so it's out of the way. It doesn't hurt anything, but like I said, sticking out like that, I can't work fully around the mower. It'll be easier to work with. And this is something that was on the mower when I got it, and I never replaced it. But you can take a look and see there's a square hole there for like a carriage style bolt, and probably a twist nut on the inside, similar to these, to be able to lock that handle into place or remove it and be able to collapse the handle. It should actually collapse over top of the mower, and then the other handle folds back the other way for storage. So I'm going to get this off, and one of the things I'll do is add to my list. I'll check around the shop first and try to find a couple of those carriage bolts and these star type nuts so that I can put that back to normal, because for storing this in the shed, right now I've got my Adirondack chairs in there. There's not a lot of room. This sticking out is a pain. If I could fold it all down to where this is the footprint, that'll save me some time. So we'll get that off and we'll figure all that out and make that better. I lifted the mower up and removed the blade, and take a look how rusty that is. That's from, I guess, wet grass and then washing out under the mower with a hose. So what we'll do is find some anti-seize. I think I have some in the shop. If not, I'll pick some up, add it to my list. We'll put a little anti-seize on there so that, hopefully that'll help keep it from rusting and make it easier to take off in the future. And I noticed one other thing. Look how wobbly this wheel is. Now, you guys will remember a while back, this wheel over here, I don't know if you can, you probably can't see it, but I did a video where I made a bushing out of Delrin for this wheel and put the wheel back on, and it's great. This one is now wore out. So while we've got it off, I've got another piece of that Delrin. I'll go ahead and make a center bushing for that, which will, because what happens is my son goes forward, then he pushes the front of the mower up and twists it on the back wheels. These great big wheels, that's a lot of torque on them, right? So it tears up, you can see that the bearing right there is sticking out in the front. So we'll get rid of that. We'll replace it with Delrin, and that problem goes away. I'm not real happy about this next procedure, and I always forget about it until I have to do it. But on my old Briggs & Stratton that I used to have, underneath the deck, there was a nut. You remove that nut, it was a plug, and you drain the oil. On these mowers, the way they do it is you take the dipstick out, and you've got your dipstick fill tube there, or your oil fill tube. You put a siphon pump in there and siphon the oil out. I don't have a siphon pump. Plus, I'm not sure that gets all the sediment out of the bottom. So what I do is I take a water jug and I will remove the dipstick and I'll place the water jug over the fill tube, the oil fill tube, tump this up on its side and let the oil drain into that jug. Now that way, I'll let it sit for several hours. I mean, I have a few other things to do. I've got to go buy parts. It'll set that way until I come back. And hopefully some sludge and stuff, if there is any in there, will drain out into that jug as well. I can put the new oil in, and then sometime when I head back up to the auto parts store, I take on that jug, and they are happy to recycle the oil for me. You can kind of see how this works. Thank goodness I had this peanut can handy, because obviously the mower wants to come all the way over, which that did help. You're supposed to remove the air filter. It says to change the oil. I'm not sure why. Maybe it allows some type of airflow through the system. The jug did crush a little bit, but that's not going to hurt. You can see I've got it all the way over the spout, so it's going to completely fill with any oil that's in there. And being up on the side like this, it should allow, any sludginess to drain out if there's any in there. So I'm going to let that sit for a while, and I'm going to turn my attention to sharpening the blade. Some folks calls it a sickle. I calls it a sling blade. If you remember that movie, you're almost as old as I am. All right, I'm going to use the Wolverine system over here. I'm actually not going to use the Wolverine system. I'm going to use the CBN wheels, and we're going to put a nice little edge on our blade. Now, this blade was new last season, so it hadn't been sharpened yet, so it should not be a problem. It's got plenty of meat left on it. After a couple of seasons and a couple of sharpenings, they kind of wear down, and I like to replace them. I don't remember what I paid for it. I'm thinking they're about $25 or something along those lines, but let's get to sharpening. I know somebody out there is going to have the comment, having the mower up on edge like that, it's going to drain gas everywhere. The answer is no, it's not. Couple of reasons. First off, this gas cap fits extremely tight. It doesn't leak. That's the first reason. The second reason why it's not going to leak gas is because there was barely any gas in the mower. It just barely had enough to cover the bottom of the tank. I shined a flashlight down in there. Actually, I'm using the flashlight that I shined in there because it was the light on my phone. And there's almost no gas in there at all. The tank is in here going this way. So the tank is about this long, okay?
So this is the bottom of the tank. So all the gasoline went to the bottom of the tank. And maybe there's that much in there. So before you get upset that I'm going to drain gas everywhere, know that the mower is not gassed up. Got an edge on my blade. I'm happy about that. It's really sharp. I always heard that
it doesn't matter if your lawnmower blade is razor sharp or not, because the dampness in the grass, you know, that pulpiness, basically dulls it out pretty quick. True or not, I don't know. It's just something I heard. But I've got a nice edge on there. It won't shave the hair off your arm, but it's got a nice angle to it. I took all of the chips out where it looked like things had been hit, you know, maybe rocks or something in the yard. And it should do a great job cutting the grass. So I'm going to lay this aside. Pretty much, I think I have a list of the basic consumables that I need for the mower. So I think I'm going to wash up a little bit and head up to the parts store and get them. The rest of the stuff, like, you know, in the self-propelled system or whatever, I'm going to probably have to order that online. I don't think anybody local would carry that. I've looked at all of the rubber tubing that feeds the gas line, and it looks good. It's not broken up or dry rotted or anything.
See the bubbling right there? I guess I got some rust probably coming up from the bottom of the deck. Look at that. Boy, that's not good. Let me take a look at the other side and see if I can see anything. Oh, look, here's why. My son didn't clean it out after he used it last time. It left that wet grass in there, and it is rusting the metal. So I'm going to have to get all that cleaned out. We'll get this back piece pulled out here. This is the bagger attachment. And take a look at how full that is if you open the bagger. Yeah, I'm going to have to say something to Junior. He's going to have to do a little better job than that, because I don't want to buy another mower.
$50 every 5 years is just a little too much to pay for a lawnmower, in my opinion. I'm just joking, but I will say something to him. He should have cleaned that out, because now I'm going to pay for that. And I think that's, you know, those decks aren't all that thick. So I may try to get some, I may see if I can find something that I can spray up under there to kill rust. And then maybe shoot some paint up under there. I got some black Rust-Oleum paint. So I'll see if I can find something to kill rust. And then we could take our pressure washer, clean that out, and shoot some primer in there. I'll have to get primer. And see if we can kill that rust from the inside. I've cleaned up a little bit, and I'm getting ready to run up to the local auto parts store. And guess what I found in the shop?
These bolts have the perfect square head on them, and they fit right into these holes and lock in place. They're a little bit long, but guess what? A Dremel tool will take care of that. I actually have, this will fit the bolt, but it doesn't have a pass-through. Now I could drill that out, but I only have one of them, so it doesn't really buy me anything. So I'm going to see if they have any star knobs like this that will fit this bolt. I'll take it with me.
It has literally been a minute. Let me tell you what happened. I left here to go to the auto parts store, looking for some parts, and they had the filter, the spark plug, the oil. They just didn't have any hardware, which is okay. They're an auto parts store, but I was looking for some knobs. While I'm checking out, my phone rings. It's work. We need you to come in and finish the job. So, okay, I go into work. I finish the job. Luckily, I had one of these nuts with me because I was looking for hardware, because on the way home from work, I pass Menards. So I swing into Menards, and perfect fit. I got two of these awesome knobs. I got some anti-seize. I got a little 3-in-1 oil. I need this over on my metal lathe. That stuff is really good for on the metal lathe when you're turning. I just picked up some O'Reilly's motor oil, 10W30. I got my air filter. That came from O'Reilly's. Those things at the auto parts store. And my spark plug. So I got every single thing on my list. All I need to do now is I've got my bin of washers. I'm going to get in here and pick out 2 lock washers, because I'll put the bolt through the rail. I'll shorten the bolts, run them through the rails, and then I'll put a lock washer on the side with the threaded knob, because the vibration of the mower and the constant pushing on the handle, you know, it could loosen up. So we'll put a lock washer on there just to kind of, you know, hedge our bets. So I'm happy I got that. I'll dig out the lock washers. The oil has been draining this entire time. I don't hear any dripping going on, so I think I've probably got probably 90+% of it. So I'm pretty happy about that. So we're going to upright the mower. Then we're going to take this front clip off and see what's going on with the self-propel aspect of the mower. Well, I just got called into work again. So I got the oil filled on the mower. Got the dipstick put back in, checked that it's at the right level. I was getting ready to put the air filter in, but I'll do that when I get back from work. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm back in the shop for the 3rd time today. I think I've got everything taken care of, and yeah, I'm just going to get back on this mower and see how much I can get done.
Got my pressure washer set up outside, so I'm going to get this out in the backyard. We're going to pressure wash it underneath, on top, all the way around, and get it cleaned up. Got the mower cleaned up. You can see all the paint that came off on the front as well as the back, and I've got a penny size or dime size hole there and another one starting there. So I'm going to try to get something to put on there to stop the rust, and then I may, from the inside, maybe pop rivet something in there like some aluminum or something, just to stop that. The mower looks quite a bit better cleaned up. I went ahead and pulled the front clip off, cleaned all this. I'm wondering, this belt looks pretty shot. Take a look at that. You can see the frayed edges there. That may be my whole problem. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this thing put back together. Well, actually, I need to get it up on the bench and work on the wheels. I got to get those wheels in the back straightened out. Notice how they bow in. That's the real bad one, and that's the other one, but I think the nut's just loose on that one. So we'll clean them wheels up, and then we'll get the handle put back on and get everything buttoned up, and we'll fire it up, and we'll watch what happens up here. There was a ton of crap jammed in there, so it could have been there was just a ton of stuff in there. It could be that the belt is just worn and stretched. I have never replaced that belt. It does try to go, so I think the transmission's okay, but we'll find out more. Everything seems to be, I mean, it's loose right here, but there's a spring there. It's not really loose. It's a spring thing for, I guess, so it doesn't, you know, if it had a hard stop, it might break or something. I don't know, but doing better. I think I'm going to have to get something to kill the rust and then shoot a little primer and a little red paint on there, because this stuff's pretty well shot. I found the issue why the wheel that I fixed is wobbling. If I put this in the wheel, notice how far in that goes, and it sticks out on this side. There is a bushing here, or a washer, that pushes that back. So what's happening is, let me get it out of the wheel. What's happening is, since it's being pushed back, there's play in there. I'm going to remake this Delrin bushing. I'm gonna go ahead and make 2 of them, because the wheel's not damaged. It's not broke inside or anything. It's just when I made this, I made too large of a sleeve there, and I think we can correct that, and I think we can make these better. We're gonna make one for each of the back wheels. I've got my measurements here. This is what it's gonna look like. Basically the same thing as this, except I now know that the body, this part of it should be 47.87 millimeters. This part should only be 9.77. The diameter up here is 2207, and it's 2863 at the other end. I've got a nice block of Delrin here that I'll use to make the first one, and I'll dig around. I know I've got a huge block of Delrin in my, my lathe cabinet, so I'll get another block out and we'll cut a second one. Here's my new Delrin bushing. We're going to flip it over. Drops right down in there. You can see it comes right out to the edge. It's hard to see on video, but there's just a little bit of a lip there, maybe a millimeter, 2 millimeters. And then we just need to cut, I'll mark that and cut it to the right length so that it fits perfectly within the wheel. And the last thing I need to do is drill a hole down the center of it to accommodate the axle. There's no play in that whatsoever, so it should be a solid shaft as long as I make it. And of course, that's the perfect size right there. There's no play in that either. It's just this part was too long. So as long as I make the hole right down the center, the wheel should ride straight, and I shouldn't have to worry about any of this back and forth stuff, because I'm going to have I'm going to have this entire, 3 inches of the axle supported by Delrin all the way through. All right, I'm really happy. I've got another great fit there. It's just a little proud, which is good. I don't mind truing that up. And we got a little bit to cut off the back. So I'll get both of these over to the lathe. We'll get them put in a chuck and cut to the proper length. And then I'll get the proper bit and we'll drill for the axle. I've got the first bushing cut to size and drilled. And look at that, there's no play in it. That's gonna work perfect. I got the other wheel on and I noticed there was some play, but when I looked, the play isn't at the axle. The play is back here on the, where it mounts to the body of the mower. And I only see 1 bolt on the inside of here. It's probably loose. I'm thinking there should be 2 bolts. So I'm wondering if one of my mounting bolts, because there is another hole down at the bottom, I think maybe one of them over time just worked its way out and fell out. So I'm going to locate another bolt and re-brace this, I don't know what it's called, with the axle component here. So we're going to re-brace that to the mower with a new bolt and a lock washer. All right, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for me.
I think I'm going to call it a night. I know I'm not done yet, but it's just been the boys and I home today. So that means there's a sink full of dishes and God only knows what's sitting around the house. You know, boys, they never clean up after themselves. We're bad about that. So I want to get in there. I'm just wiping up the excess water so it doesn't sit there on that raw metal. I'm going to get in there and do the dishes real quick, straighten up the house, probably go ahead and get a shower and clean up because I'm kind of greasy and dirty. So I probably will do that first. And that way my wife doesn't come home to a mess. She doesn't deserve that. So we'll make sure everything is in perfect order. I'll get back out here tomorrow. I wanted to do some turning projects tomorrow, but I think I still got a little bit more to do on this mower, and then I need to mow. So we're, we got to take care of priorities first. I got to have this thing working so that we can mow our lawn this year. And I still want to work on the front end. And I can tell you right now, this belt is shot. So I may be back at the auto parts store buying another belt. I'm hoping that's the whole issue with the front axle because nothing else seems loose. Nothing seems broken. Everything looks good. But that belt is it's in horrid shape. It's burned and stretched and it's frayed. So keep your fingers crossed that that'll fix it up for me. And I'll get that mower back in shape. I am super happy with those rear wheels, but we'll kick off the day tomorrow with getting that axle mount remounted to the body of the mower so it's secure and ready to roll for the season. All right, guys, have a great day. It's been fun hanging out with you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.